also people who have this story to tell, and it really does connect to other people.
I think that's the. I think that for me personally, in my own personal journey, I think that that's the way people. I think people receive information much more or better when you have your own personal journey. You can share it without any reservations and not, you know, be as honest as you possibly can in relation, and just take away some of the doubts and the fears that that clearly are people experience, and that's just in general. Go right across the board. It doesn't just have to be specific to prostate cancer. That's just in general, in my personal opinion, anyway.
Yes. And DJ TLC, so the first interview, and for people who want to check that out, it's important because you did go into so much detail and it was informative. So you were talking also about processing the news of when you found out that you had prostate cancer. You shared with us around the symptoms that you experienced, and one of my Facebook friends said they found it really informative. So just to say to you that as a result of the interview, I know of at least 4 men who have said they're getting tested where they never would have thought of it before, or they're reminded to get tested, or they're going to continue getting tested because you stress on the importance of getting it sorted early. So,
Yeah, I cannot emphasize, and just to say and it just goes right across the board. And the reason why I said everybody, I'm talking about women as well.
yes,
Obviously, prostate cancer doesn't it's just not their other diseases that affect the women. But the reason being is, as I said in the first interviews, that I find that a lot of men are very reluctant to go to the doctors. And so if your partner, sister, somebody cares about you, encourages you, that you're more likely to make make the effort. Then what I'm saying, and that's really very important that women as well just take part and listen to what I'm saying, and say, if you have a father, a brother, an uncle, a husband, a fiance, whoever, you just, and they're of a certain age, you tell them. And me personally, I've got 2 sons, and I'm encouraging them to in the next 5 to 10 years, that they have to, because I've had it, they need to now, get checked.
yes.
And it's just something that it resonates with me very, very deeply. And and what it is as well, not to digress, there are a lot of men. There are a few men who, and it's surprising. It's so surprising the amount of men who contract prostate cancer, right? And they just keep it to themselves. They keep it to themselves. They're suffering, and you don't have to suffer in silence. That's my message to those people. You don't have to suffer in silence. It's something that there are different bodies that you can go to and maybe speak on your concerns, or your whatever it may be, whatever the problems you may be having. Maybe just not just listening to me, because I may sound like I'm all right, but I've conditioned myself to where I'm at this moment in time.
Right.
So it wasn't easy. So I'm not saying this, and I need to emphasize, I'm not saying this because to make it sound as though this is an easy journey, right? From the diagnosis up until the first initial months, it was very difficult for me to process what was going on for me. And you're faced with your own mortality. These are things that maybe you can seek somebody professional to go and speak to. I don't want it to make it sound as, TLC and he's okay. It's not just that. There's stages in the process.
Yes.
So I need to just convey that as well.
We appreciate you saying that, because one of the comments was that for one of our listeners, they're seeing it as before, that they're not someone who can talk openly about it. They can't see themselves being how you are about it. But then you just said what you said to us, it's a journey. You weren't just suddenly like this, how you are now about it. So that helps them to know that they can get to that space. Does that resonate, DJ TLC?
Yeah, and even if, and you know what, that's just it, every individual is different, and it doesn't necessarily, because I speak on it like this, or I wouldn't say myself as a spokesperson, but I'm very passionate about it, because I think to myself, there were a few of my colleagues, I can think of 3 that have passed in the last 10 years, right, because not taking on board that, you know, if it's caught early, you know, I'm 13 years in, and you know, you know, not put early because of, I don't want to use the word ignorance, that's being a bit too harsh, but because of fear, right, of the unknown, a lot of men push to the side, you know, in general, and that's not the way forward, because, you know, if it's caught early, and like I said, even after, if you decide to have a prostatectomy or whatever the treatments that's offered to you, it's still better, in my opinion, than going through the trauma, you know, of not getting it taken care of, and then, you know, subsequently falling ill, and you know, ultimately passing. So
yes. And DJ TLC, after the break, we're going to ask you some questions. So everyone's different, and I think this is what resonates with people when you're speaking on this topic, because you are aware of there are different people. You're not saying like everyone has to be like you. You're letting us know there's a journey, and not everyone is going to be a speaker on the topic. However, speakers like you, I call you a speaker on the topic because you are impacting people. And I thought maybe one person would respond, but 4 to date who are saying that this has impacted them. And one of my Facebook friends left a message actually on the YouTube who really had a positive comment regarding the interview. So you are impacting men, and that's what it's all about. And we're going to also talk about the women, the importance of women. One of our listeners was so moved when you talked about your wife, DJ TLC, when you talked about your lovely wife who stood by you and went through this with you. That's really important. It's powerful. Indeed.
100%. I mean, you know, have to give credit where credit, give people their flowers, and she definitely deserves. Well, see, it was cost money in it, but you know, she definitely deserves all the accolades that I can give her.